welcome to the show. It's another United Kingdom talk with myself, Chris Reardon. First of all, apologies. Last week we had a little bit of a problem with the video side of things, didn't we? Not the first time we've had trouble with the video side of things. But for some strange reason, I couldn't send the show to the people that look after the video side of things, that is YouTube. Basically, I create this show here in the Mirable Studios in Royal Berkshire, as you hear at the beginning of every show. Thus, oh yes,
from the Mirable Studio.
It's the drum roll that does it, you know. I've actually got a few different ones of those. Let me have a little quick look here. Where's my other? I've got some other openers here, dear. That's the only one. You see, that's the only one with the drum roll, so that's why I use that. Perhaps I should I rotate them? Should I rotate my entrances? Pardon? Maybe I should rotate my... Look, we've got this one as well. Just a minute. Here's another one.
Live from the Mirable Studio.
No, we can't use that one because it says live. So, you know, I don't like to lie to you, my darlings. Look at me. Don't you think I've got one of those faces that you could trust forever and ever, eh? Now, I have got some other openings, so to speak. You make your own jokes up, I don't mind. Now, we've got some other ones here. Let me see. 1, 3, 2... Just a minute, I'm getting all confused now. I should have waited. That's the thing with this show. You never know what's going to happen yet. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. Right, so we've got this one as well.
From the Mirable Studio in Royal Berkshire.
Yes.
This is Chris Reardon.
Yes, so that's the other one. And we've got two others. We've got this one.
Across the UK and across the world.
I like this one.
From the Mirable Studio in Royal Berkshire. This is Chris Reardon.
And we've got this one as well.
From the Mirable Studio in Royal Berkshire. This is Chris Reardon.
And, of course, the drum roll that you heard at the beginning. So, do you think we should rotate them, or shall we stick with the drum roll? It's very dramatic, dear. Not, of course, that I'm a dramatic person. I tend to be quite quiet when I'm not with you, you know. Oh, yes. Yes, I sit there quietly. Anyway, back to our subjects. There was a bit of a problem with the whole YouTube thing. And I'll tell you what happened. I uploaded a show on Thursday, the 3rd of July. That was it, Thursday, the 3rd of July. And when you upload... sorry, Joy, I apologise. Joy is a dear, dear lady friend in Acton who is of advanced years, and I gather from after our conversation on the last show she hasn't got any problem with puddles at all, I'm pleased to say to you, all right? But Joy is of advanced years and doesn't understand technical terms. Uploading, Joy. Okay, that's where I've made my show and I then have to send it somewhere so that they can then distribute it, okay? That's uploading, my darling. So, I uploaded, i.e. sent my show to YouTube. Now, this does take a long time. When I say a long time, we're talking quite a few hours, about 3 or 4 hours to send one of these 1-hour shows to YouTube. Okay? So usually I start it and then I go and do something. I might go down the shops or I might go to work, and by the time I come back then it's all sorted and finished. Well, I sent this show to YouTube and then came back from work or whatever it was I was doing later on, and there was a little message saying video too long. And I thought, oh, that's the first time I've had that message. And as you know, I've been uploading this show now since, I think late January, early February, we've been doing the video side of things. If you're a new listener or indeed viewer, then you may like to know we have been doing the show since October 2005 as an audio programme, as a radio programme. And it's only in the last, I can't believe it actually, 6 months. It's only in the last 6 months that we've started video in the show as well. Anyway, all has been fine and hunky-dory. And everything has been uploaded to YouTube, and then it starts, and then that's it, and everything works fine until last Thursday when I got the message saying video too long, and I have no idea what went wrong. So I tried to send it up again and got the same message. So I then made the file size smaller. That's the Oh joy, how can I explain? File size is where you like crush everything up and put it into a smaller box. Okay, so I put it into a smaller box, sent it up again, still the same problem, telling me that the program was too long. Not the file size too big, that was fine. There seems to be now a restriction on the length of the shows as well. So I emailed the lovely people at YouTube, only to get an automated email back directed me to their frequently asked questions, which of course I had already read. And I was very aware of the fact within the frequently asked questions there's a little bit that says all YouTube videos must be under 1 gig in size. Now the gig, Joy, that means the size of the box. So the show has to be a certain size, okay? But the length of the show is now restricted to 10 minutes. However, people who have been uploading long shows for some time will continue to be allowed to upload their longer shows. Now, this message I remember actually appearing a little while ago, perhaps a couple of months ago now, and I have been kind of wondering, oh, will they let me carry on or not? And I had assumed that they will do, or they would. As is the case. I told you I saw the message a couple of months ago. It was that appeared, and I seemed to be continuing to able to upload my long shows. And then suddenly that a couple of Thursdays ago. So I emailed them, got the frequently. So I waited a while and no email came. I then started looking around at other upload sites, and I did find one Google Video. Okay, now on that one, there doesn't seem to be a restriction in the size of your program or indeed the length of the program. So I uploaded to them. After a few teething problems, I did manage to actually get that going. I also found out that Google actually now owns YouTube. So it's it's all a bit of a mystery to me how these systems are working. So I thought, oh, you know, blow me down, what are we going to do now? And then on Saturday, I thought, well, let's give YouTube one more go with today's show. And I uploaded, that was last Saturday, of course. And I uploaded last Saturday's show, left it, came back to the screen, and everything was hunky-dory and it's all working again. So we're not quite sure was it a problem? Was it a technical difficulty at YouTube? Or did they see my emails, act on them, and that's why I'm able to do it again? I'm not quite sure, but for whatever the reason was, I must thank YouTube for whatever they did to start to restore the thing as well. You see, the problem is with these YouTube and Google Video and all those other video sharing sites, the problem is there's an awful lot of people uploading copyrighted stuff to them. You know, stuff that artists, fair enough, you know, want to be paid for. And other companies own the copyright to these things. And I do kind of understand that. So the companies, the YouTube and that, are trying to sort a way of stopping people to do that, I think. But this programme, of course, United Kingdom Talk, is owned totally and wholly by me. And as you know, I don't make any money out of it. That's okay, because I just enjoy doing it, and sharing the love, shall we say, sharing the love with you. And that's what it's all about. So hopefully that they've now perhaps watched one or two of my shows and probably falling asleep as well at the same time, and have realised that it is an original programme and not actually owned by anyone. So hopefully that problem won't happen again. So fingers crossed. If you know anything about that at all, because I didn't actually get a reply email from YouTube. On the other hand, they're probably bogged down with people like myself, I would imagine, constantly emailing them and that sort of thing. But if you know anything, perhaps why that would have happened, do let us know, okay? There's an email to the show. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, what else has been happening this week? Oh, Jimmy, the little adventurer, has returned home. Hurrah! Yes, Jimmy is my 11-year-old nephew, and for the first time Last week, he went on a school trip to Wales. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. Da-da-da-da-da. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. Da-da-da-da. Wales, Wales. Have you ever been to Wales? Beautiful country. Well, I mean, the countryside of it is. I was actually seeing someone in Newport about 8 years ago. Now that, oh dear me, rough. You don't know the half of it, did? That is as rough as ours is there. But the countryside in Wales is very beautiful, a little bit like the Highlands of Scotland. Sorry, I'm not comfortable in my chair. Oh, by the way, I'm in the studio today. Can you tell when? Oh, you must be able to tell because there's no birds singing. Listen. All you can hear is the quiet whirring of the fan in one of the computers, can't you? The reason why we're in the studio today is not because it's a horrible day. It's a bit overcast, but it's not bad outside. But the school that is very close by to me is having a summer fete. Now, they do this once a year, just before the children break up to go on holiday. Oh, incidentally, so I heard someone on the radio the other day. What was her name? One of the women on LBC. And she said she hates calling children children because it's patronising. What a dreadful thing to say. What a stupid... Don't you think so? She said, oh, no, well, you mustn't call children children because it's really patronising. Call them kids. Do you know, I've never, ever liked the word kids. Have you? Horrible word. Kids. Children. I like the word children, don't you? Strange thing to say. Do you think that's patronising, calling a child a child? Silly woman. Anyway, so the children and indeed the school, which is quite close by to me, they're having some sort of open day, and they always do this once a year at the end of term. And there's music playing and people speaking over the microphone. There's clearly a DJ over there because the voice is really DJ-ish. You know, it's very deep. I mean, I can do it myself. To be, you know, well, you're watching and listening to me now. This is the real me, okay? This really is the real me. This is what I sound like in real life. I know it's scary, isn't it? There's no put on voice or anything like that. But sometimes when I'm DJing in a club or perhaps bringing on an artist or something like that, I will drop my voice a bit and perhaps sound a little bit more like a DJ. So a very good evening and welcome to the Steam Coach on a Friday night. Don't forget the quiz night is on Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Do you see what I mean? That's a little bit more DJ-ish, isn't it? Well, this you watching this and listening to this show, this is really me. There's no pretence here, dear. There's no pretence. Anyway, so that's why I'm in the studios. All the windows are closed. It's a little bit hot. I really don't want to turn on my air conditioning. Oh, the thought of that electricity meter going round, it fills me with horror. Fills me with horror. So there's music playing out there. It's actually, you know, I've got very good windows here. Listen. Can't hear that at all, can you? Can't hear any noise at all. Good double glazed windows here. Music playing. And the DJ's voice is quite good. But then there's clearly some woman teacher over there and she picks up the microphone. Oh, and she screeches. It's a little bit like listening to some of these women on the radio. Some of them are lovely. There's who's the girl on Radio 2 late at night? I like her. Janice Long. Oh, she's got a great voice. Great radio voice. The only thing with Janice Long, she always sounds like she's just been smoking about 20 fags before she comes on air. And she sits there, coughing away. I love her voice. And there's also a posh lady on Radio 2. I can't think of her name now. She's on early morning. Now, what was her name? Is it Jenny someone or other? Could be Jenny. But anyway, this woman who's over the road at the moment in the school, she keeps grabbing the microphone and she screeches down. She sounds like a banshee. It's awful. She sounds like a banshee in distress. Hello, children! Oh, for God's sake. Now, that is patronising, isn't it? The way they speak, some of these and they're so above everyone, aren't they? Some of these teachers do. I bet she's around about my age. This woman teacher over there. She's probably around about my age and thinks she is, the centre of attention, where everyone knows I'm the centre of attention. So that so that's why we're in the studio today, because there's a lot of noise going on outside. All right. What have I got to tell you as well? Yes, as I say, lovely Jimmy, my little adventurer, has returned to his mother. Oh, she's so pleased. It was quite funny. That was Friday. He came back home Friday. They left on, was it Monday morning? They went to Wales for a few days. And they stayed in log cabins, apparently 3 to a little cabin. And my sister, while they were there, for 4 whole days, she received, I believe, 2 postcards in that time, which is quite nice. One of which said, she said it was a bit of an odd postcard, really. It says, "Hi, Mum. Hope you're okay. There is a basin in the room. Jimmy. Lots of love, Jimmy. Kiss, 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 kiss." Well, apparently, now I shouldn't really tell you this because it's, you know, it's embarrassing for the boy. But apparently, my sister sent him a letter, and the teacher, come here, shh, listen. The teacher told my sister that when Jimmy opened the letter from her, he was reading it and crying. Oh, isn't that nice? Oh, it was reading it and crying. Oh, I know what it's like because years ago, of course, when I went camping with the Cubs and the Scouts, we used to send letters and coming to and back from Mum and Dad. The only thing is, Mum and Dad, they always worried about my health. Not that there's nothing, fortunately, touch wood, there's nothing wrong with me, other than, you know, I could do with a younger face now, I suppose. But apart from that, there's nothing else wrong. But they would always send me a letter or a card or something. It was great. Oh, it was like the Red Cross. It was like the Red Cross. Whenever, you know, every day the postman, wherever we were camping, we could be on a farm, even on a farm or something like that. And all these letters would come in the morning, and then they'd call us Scouts over and say, "All right, Chris, there's your one." But some of them, the bigger children, you know, the ones who are not eating properly, shall we say, they used to receive boxes of blooming sweets, dear. Chocolates and crisps. Honestly, it really was like Red Cross parcel day. Not that I've been fortunate enough not to have to live through any wars or anything like that here in the UK, but there would be boxes, Red Cross parcels coming for the kids, full of sweets and everything. Shocking, really. Shocking. Well, it must have been... Oh, I didn't ask, actually, if she... I wonder if she sent him any sweets. Just a minute. Let me just ring my sister and just see if she actually sent him any sweets in a post, because his little face and his little tears were rolling down his face when he opened the thing. No, she's not in it. Oh, hello, Tor. Is she in, dear? Oh, how inconvenient, dear. Did she send Jimmy any sweets in the post? Any sweets in the post when he was in Wales? Or don't you know? Don't know. All right, Dor. Ooh. Is he there now? Oh, yeah. Okay. Ta-ta then. Bye. Well, we don't know the answer to that question. Did she? I bet she did send sweets in the post to him. Anyway, so he had a nice time, and he came back on Friday. My sister was there. She was waiting for this coach to arrive, and I was on the end of the phone as well because I wanted to talk to him to see how it all went. But the coach arrived, and I don't know, it must have been a big coach. All these children were getting off. There was no Jim, and she said, "I can't see him. I can't see him. Where's my boy? Where's my boy?" And eventually he came off the coach, and he didn't exactly go running over to her, but it was nice. And he was too busy, apparently, to talk to me. Oh, I suppose in front of all his mates, weren't it? Too busy to talk to Uncle Chris or give Mummy a big, big kiss. How many of you remember that, eh? Do you remember being at school or at some sort of youth organisation, maybe Scouts, Boys Brigade, Girl Guide, something like that? Not so bad for the girls, but for the boys. Do you remember being out there in front of all your friends and your mum and dad come over and give you a big kiss? How embarrassing is that? Yes. Oh, dear. What I'd give for that now, though, now that my mum and dad are gone, what I would give for them to be waiting down outside the front of my house to give me a big kiss when I come home from work. It's all gone, innit? How many of you remember perhaps your mum and dad saying when maybe you were a bit ill or something and they were fussing? Eh? Do you remember your mum and dad fussing? Fuss, 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 fuss. You go, oh, Mum! Or, oh, Dad, don't fuss! And they would say to you, you'll miss it when it's gone. And you'd say to them, no, I won't. How many people will now tell me that their mum and dads were right and you were wrong? Eh? Yes, you do, don't you? Oh, God, I miss that fussing. Now when I'm ill, you know, there's me. That's it. I sit downstairs on the settee, poor old soul, you know, with a blanket over me, trying to keep warm, coughing and sneezing and God knows what else. Yeah, we miss it all right, don't we? What about you? Got any stories like that? Let me know. The email address to the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I do feel a lot more relaxed in the studio rather than outside. I have to admit that. Also, I've got my little button here so that you can't hear me when I cough. And I just coughed twice then. And just again then. Although if you're watching the show, you can see me put my hand up to the mouth, but you can't hear me cough, which is, again, an advantage of actually being in the studio. Okay, so that's it. Now, what else has happened this week? So Jim is back home, and I shall be seeing him in a couple of weeks. Yes, well, actually, it's next week, isn't it? It's next week. I'm going up to Lincolnshire to visit my lovely little niece, Tracy. She's 20... Oh, how old is she? I think she's 21. Sure, Tracy's 21. Gary's 24. And Jim is 11. And my sister and her husband. And I've got a whole week up there this time, which is rather nice. I've got someone coming down here to look after my house, which is rather nice because the cats need feeding and what have you. And it's like a holiday to them, you see, where I live outside London. So the person who'd be staying here is actually from London. So it's like a little holiday to them. So, and, you know, you've got to have someone you trust and what have you. To look after the cats and whatever. So looking forward to that, up to Lincolnshire. And then we'll try and record one show up there. One or maybe two shows, I don't know yet, so we can keep it going like that, okay? And when I come back, once I come back, the show will then be more current because, as you know, it's recorded about a week in advance at the moment. Once I come back and the show's already in the can sort of have caught up, then in future after that, the show will only be sort of recorded 1 or 2 days in advance. So hopefully those of you that kindly take the time and trouble to send in emails and bits and pieces like that, we'll see them appear a lot quicker in the show. All right. There's a postal address as well. The email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Postal address will be coming up in the next few minutes or so. All right. Oh, yes, the bloke. Do you remember I said a man was coming round to check out about a wind turbine? Well, he did in fact come round. In fact, for a 10 o'clock appointment, which I needed to be up early for anyway, and he appeared at 9:20. Oh, I mean, I didn't have my face on or anything. It was shocking, dear. Shocking. My hair was all over the place, what there is left of it. There were, you know that just got up look. I was a bit like that. It was one of those just got up looks. Open the door. Very nice man, actually. I said, what do you want to look at then? He says, well, to be honest, he said, I haven't got to look anywhere. You've got too many trees here, mate. He said, we can put one up for you, but our company doesn't work like that. And if I put one up for you, you'll spend an awful lot of money and it will take you years to get it back. He said, it's just not worth doing here because I am, as I've told you before, surrounded by tall pine trees. Now, I just assumed that as they were pine trees, the needles are right at the very top. There are no leaves or anything like that. And I for some reason, I assume that it's the leaves that stop the wind turning the turbine. But apparently, I mean, there really is an awful lot of trees around, beautiful, beautiful trees around here. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to have a little wind turbine in the garden, which is rather disappointing. I quite like the idea of it. This erection in my garden, sticking up or attached to the side of the house, spinning around, giving me 3 electricity, but it's not going to happen. I'll have to move. Oh, don't say that, love. Don't say that, because I am attached mentally to this house, as you know. I am attached mentally to this house. So that won't happen. Very nice man from Windsave. The only thing I will say, he was from, yeah, that's the name of the company, was Windsave. The only thing I will say, he was very, very friendly. and he chatted. And you know when you've just got out of bed and you just want to be left alone? I've got to be honest with you, I'm not someone that wants to have long conversations just after I've got out of bed. And he chatted. And he went on and on and on. Now, he was interesting. Don't get me wrong here. I had very nice conversations with him. But I thought, oh, I wish you'd go. I want to go back to bed. But, of course, I can't. Once I've got up, I can't do that. And very, very rarely anyway. So he chatted on and on and on. He must have been here about 45 minutes. As soon as he came in the door, he says, I don't really need to look anywhere else. He said, it's really not worth your while having one put up. So I said, thank you very much. And then I made the mistake. Would you like a cup of tea while you're here? Well, of course, once he had the cup of tea in his hand, it just went on and on and on, dear. Chat, 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 chat. Oh, God's sake. But there we are. It was a nice thing, and I'm glad I got it sorted. I'm just a bit disappointed I didn't have a wind turbine put up, but there we are. So that's that bit as well. Now, what else has happened this week? I'm just trying to have a quick look at the time. I've told you about the YouTube thing. Those of you that watch the programme may sometimes see the little posts that I put on MySpace. I've got Facebook, Chris Reardon London. Just do a little search if you want to join me on that. Chris Reardon London is my Facebook. Recently, Marsha joined. Hello, Marsha. Hope you're well. One of our newer people, aren't you, my darling? Welcome along. Marsha's there, and she's on the MySpace as well. And it's quite nice. But it amuses me when you start up MySpace, immediately the young lady of Asian appearance appears. And she's doing an advert for one of those matchmaking programmes, isn't she? And she looks at the camera and go like that, you know, pouts her lips and then flicks her hair back and like smiles like that. And, well, the only thing is, she's been on there now for months and still hasn't obviously got a boyfriend, because otherwise she wouldn't still be on the blooming thing, would she? So it's not really a very good advert for the matchmaking site, is it? Do you think I could do that? You don't actually hear anything. You just see her sort of patting her lips and doing all that, you know, with her hair. And it is quite amusing to watch, but she's got this false smile, and then she puts a pen in her mouth and goes, like that. Do you know the girl I mean? On the MySpace, the girl of Asian appearance. Oh, it is funny. It is funny, poor old cow. She's only about 20 years old, this girl. A little bit like the girls on, although obviously not nowhere near as bad as some of those triple-rated X programmes on the television. Do you ever watch those late at night? I hope you don't. No, I don't. You've got to subscribe to these things. But some of them, basically very late at night, they have these girls on satellite. It's only on satellite television. And they're talking. I think you can ring them up. And they're talking on the phone. And they're like very suggestive, you know. Very suggestive of what they're doing on the phone. And all over the place with their hands and whatever. It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And they are as false as anything. Bleached blonde hair, 3-inch layers of makeup, fingernails that go down, you know, as far as the eye can. Oh, it's hilarious. Have you ever watched those girls on there? Oh, they're awful. Absolutely awful. On the other hand, at least you can see them. I gather the girls, and indeed some of the boys that do these chat line, you know, where it's just not video, but just on the phone, and you ring them up and say, oh, hello, what are you wearing? And all this sort of thing. And I would say, well, actually, I've got a pair of tracksuit bottoms and a nice shirt on, a nice grey shirt today, which incidentally is rather tight on the... Look at that. Can you see that? Look how tight that shirt is on my arm. Now, do you think it's because I've got fatter, or is it muscle? What do you reckon? Go on, have a look at those arms. Whoa, look at those. Look, solid. Solid arms I've got. And this shirt I've got on today, I'm just about to get that muscle up. It seems to be more hanging down below than it was above it. But, yeah, I put this shirt on today, and the arms are really tight around my arms. Not quite sure why that is. Anyway, some of these girls and boys who do the chat lines just on the telephones, they are pigs. Absolute mingers. Because you can't see them, can you? It's all fantasy. That's the thing, it's all fantasy. So you hear this nice voice, oh, hello, my name's Cassandra. I'm a 23-year-old blonde girl, size 36, 22, 36, and all this business. You know, and the idea is that you imagine this person in your head. Well, actually, it's Granny Joy just down the road. Here, she'd be good at that, Joy. My friend Joy in Acton. Here, Joy, you want a job, don't you? You sit there doing nothing all day long, dear. Oh, I know you work in the hospital and that. No, Joy actually does some. Joy's my friend in Acton, and she does some voluntary work in the hospital, which is, you know, anyone, as far as I'm concerned, anyone who does any sort of voluntary work, whether it's in the hospital or in the Scouts or helping people or something like that, you have top marks, absolutely top marks. But Joy, sometimes at night, I know you can't sleep. How about being one of those girls that you can ring up and get all those, you know, naughty stories? I can see you doing something like that, Joy. I really can, my love. Eh? Nah. Yeah, you know you want to do that. Anyone else suggest anything like that? Do let me know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I've been being a little bit naughty now, haven't I? Did I just lose what we were talking about then? Oh, I've forgotten. We've done the phones, haven't we? We've done that now. Right, OK. Let's give the postal address then. The postal address, if you want to put pen to paper, is... Are you ready? Chris Reardon. Reardon, United Kingdom Talk, P.O. Box 4073, Bracknell, Bracknell, RG429ED. Once again, it's Chris Reardon, United Kingdom Talk, P.O. Box 4073, Bracknell, Bracknell, RG429ED. And if you're outside the UK, just put United Kingdom at the end there, okay? Now, talking about... I'm not sure if it's muscle or extra fat or anything, but I did weigh myself last night for some 12 stone 10. So that's still creeping up, isn't it? It's still. I've got to say, I don't think I'm excessively eating. Hardly any chocolate. You know, honestly, I always I tell you on here what I've eaten. I don't think I overeat at all. I really don't think I overeat. Someone said to me last... Oh, that's what I meant to say. I was out the other night, and one of the younger lads, I say younger, he's about 20, well, he is younger, he's 22, so half my age, was out there, and I was walking past him a couple of times, and I walked past him again, and he says, oh, I think I might as well go home now, there's no fit ones left. Fit, as in, you know, good looking. He said, only us. And I says to him, oh, who are you with then? He said, no, us, you and me. Oh, yes. So he thought someone twice his age was fit. I was over the moon. Boys and girls. Do you know, it's been so long since someone said that to... Isn't that nice? No, he didn't fancy me or anything like that. But it's just... Isn't it nice to be told now and again, actually, you're really good looking. Now, you remember that, OK? If you've got a partner, girlfriend... boyfriend, then tell them, you do not look good tonight. Go on, tell him. Tell him. It's nice to be told that now and again. It really is. I mean, I have tried on many occasions to tell my sister that. I just can't bring myself... I mean, I can't lie. You know, I can't... I can't lie. I mean, I look at my sister and I start going to say, you know... Sharon, you look really good today, but I just can't. I mean, I look and I think, oh, I can't be lying through my teeth. You tell your partner tonight, or someone that might be feeling a bit down, tell them how good they look. makes someone's day. It really does. All right then. So 12 stone 10. Not. I know I've been saying to you that I'm not worrying too much about my weight anymore, but oh, Suko, this week I have committed. Bless me, Suko, for I have sinned. I have had. Are you ready for this one? This is a big one, Suko. But I've got to say to you, I haven't had one of these for years. I was just in the supermarket up the road, Sainsbury's, and I purchased, bless me, Suko, for I have sinned, a cream apple turnover. Covered in sugar. It was absolutely delicious, Suko. Delicious. And it's years and years since I had one of those. A cream apple turnover. Oh, beautiful. So put that on your list, my darling, all right? All right, Suko, baby. Okay, time for some emails, boys and girls. First of all, I'd like to say hello to Steve in Gosport in Hants. How are you, sir? You're not too far away from me, are you? I listen from Gosport, which is near Portsmouth. Oh, there's lots of sailors round there, isn't there? Oh, yes. Yes, all goes on round there. Well, I've heard stories. Not for this family programme. Certainly not. All the nice girls love a sailor. Steve says, I enjoy your work. I'm also a Steve Allen fan and enjoyed your Tomorite reference. And that's from Steve in Gosport in Hands. Yes, as far as I'm concerned, Steve Allen is Mr. Talk Show host. I've actually got three favourites. One who died now, of course, Mike Dickin, who used to be on Talk Sport. I loved him. He was fantastic. Steve Allen as well. Love him to bits. He was saying something this week which had me in stitches. What was it now? He was talking about Judith Chalmers. You know Judith Chalmers. If you don't know her, if you're outside the UK, you might not know her. But she's been doing this holiday programme here in the UK for years and years. And apparently, Steve Allen was saying she was on this programme called Loose Women last week, and she made an admission on the television. Guess what she never used to pack when she went on holiday to do these programmes? Can you guess? Oh, you'll die when I tell you. Judith Chalmers, she's about 72 years old. What did she not used to take on holiday? Knickers. She never used to wear any knickers because apparently the producer or something told her they didn't want to see her knicker line under the dresses. So she never, I mean, you know, I've got to be honest, I don't wear pants very often myself either. It's just something else to wash up, isn't it, dear? It is. Something else to wash up. But when you get to sort of, a 70-year-old lady and she's on the telly with no underwear, and now she's told us, dear. She's told us all about it. And this woman, Steve Allen, was saying, she's permanently orange. He said it's like looking at an orange sitting on the beach. But I love him. Steve Allen is brilliant. Very, very funny indeed. Very funny man. I love he's very, very strongly opinionated. I suppose I am a little bit really as well, am I? I don't know so much, really. Although I wouldn't really want to. I wouldn't say something on purpose to purposely hurt someone. I wouldn't do that. No, that's not me at all. So Steve Allen, yes, love it. And he enjoyed Steve Allen and my Tomorite reference because Steve Allen, every year he does these hanging baskets. And every year he tells us that what you've got to do is nip off all the buds from the about to flower plants that are in your hanging basket, give it a good dousing of Tomorite, and then you have cascades of flowers coming down all summer long. So I heard that as well. So thanks for that, Steve. I'm glad you like Steve Allen as well. The other one I quite like is Mike Mendoza, who is also on Talk Sport. Mike Mendoza, who I hold in great esteem as well. All right. I actually, they do this gadget and technology type question and answer session once a week on Mike Mendoza's show, and I actually emailed them to ask about the YouTube problem I was having, and very quickly they picked up the email and read it out. So that's good, isn't it? Very quick to be quick like that. Right. Excuse me. Hello to Mark. Hello, Mark, who's in Phoenix, Arizona. You're not the only one there, actually, Mark. We've got a few people listening in Phoenix, Arizona. And Mark says, great show, nice hearing a voice from across the pond. And that's from Mark in Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you very much for that one, Mark. A man of few words. What do you do, Mark? Are you a worker or are you a student or anything like that? What do you do? We'd like to know what our listeners are getting up to and what they do, OK? Do let us know. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Now, shock horror here. Poor old Toby, our little mate Toby, hello, sir, who says, hi, Chris, it's Toby here again. I went to one of your archive sites but couldn't find any show earlier than May 2008. Oh! You're looking in the wrong place. He said, I was horrified. I'm horrified as well for you, Toby. It's shocking. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? You can't just listen to the same show over and over again, can you? Anyway, he says, why I got your personal site and then found the shows up to 2005 at last. I was relieved. What you mean you were relieved? If you want to be relieved, just go. You don't have to ask. There's no putting up you haven't got to put up your hand. If you want to go to the toilet, just go and relieve yourself, OK? He says, Chris, will you promise to keep your shows forever on the net? We need it, from Toby. Toby, this show is something I love doing, OK? I wish I had more time to kind of prepare. And maybe I would love to do a show a day, at least Monday to Friday. You know, I'd love to do 5 shows a week, a couple of hours each. But the time just isn't there. That's the thing. That's the thing. This is unpaid, okay? I have to do a job to get money. And this is kind of pleasure. Doing this to me isn't like work at all. It's pleasure. Maybe that's why it works. I don't know. See, if I didn't want to do this, I could just switch off and that would be the end of it. But I love it. I love the interaction with people. I love talking to people. I love getting their comments. Sometimes I agree with things of mine. Sometimes I don't agree. But that's what it's about. All free speech. If anyone wants to send in an email that criticises anything that I'm doing, please feel free to do so. I'll read it out. There has been some before. Usually, though, from people known as anoraks. Anoraks. Now, anoraks are not really... There are different types of anoraks. Some anoraks seem to me to just watch and listen to stuff for the pure purpose of finding things wrong with it. Rather than tell you the little bits and pieces that are good, they will quite happily sit there and point out all the bits and pieces that are bad. Now, we see this quite a lot on some of those X Factor type shows, where someone has spent their entire life thinking that they are particularly good at something, perhaps, or even not necessarily if they're good at it, but they've spent a lot of time and a lot of their life trying to do something only to be torn down into shreds. Now, my advice to anyone who gets these messages or anything like that, you've got to be thick-skinned, okay? You've got to take those messages and read them out and respond to them. If you want to, tear them up and throw them away. Because quite often I've found anoraks and critics as well, critics and anoraks, okay? Critics and anoraks. Now, some anoraks are extremely useful. Now, I hope you don't mind me referring to you this, but Carl, in my eyes, you're an anorak. But you're a nice anorak. Carl will constructively criticise something. Or he will point out if something is wrong. Perhaps if I said to you a date, Carl might look it up and say, oh, you got that date wrong. Brilliant. We need people like that. What we don't need is people to constantly criticise. People who perhaps have never done something like this themselves. Constantly criticise and tear it to shreds. That's just horrible. It's not nice. You can do it to me because I've seen it all before. Actually, the amount of critical emails that come into this programme over the last 2.5 years or so have been, there were no more than 3 or 4, absolute maximum. That's within the amount of emails, of hundreds of emails that have come in. Critical emails, not necessarily taking an opposite view to something I might have said, but just downright nasty ones. There's been 2 or 3, but maybe 2 or 3, absolute maximum. But you've got to be thick-skinned. Ignore them, because the needs of the many outweigh the needs of one. Is that right? Yes. Star Trek viewers will know where that came from, won't you? Spock said that in one of the Star Trek films, didn't he? You know there's a new Star Trek film coming out? Oh, yes. Yes. Very late this year or early next year, I gather. Okay? Anyway, so Toby, you say, Chris, will you promise to keep your shows forever on the net? As far as I can do, yes, Toby. That's absolutely true. There's only 2 reasons that they won't always be on it. Number 1, I run out of money, and you have to pay someone to host them, you see. It is relatively cheap. Okay, it is relatively cheap for me to host, for me to have someone host these shows. It's a company called Libsyn who host the podcasts of this show, and YouTube and Current TV as well. They hold the video sides of these things. Now, YouTube and Current, that actually doesn't cost me anything. Libsyn costs me about £10 per month, which is about $20 a month to hold all those shows, which I think is brilliant. So yeah, they'll be on as long as I can keep them on. Hopefully, maybe until the day where the lights go out, boys and girls. Da, 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 da. Eh? Do you know what I thought of doing? I don't want you to think this is morbid or anything. Thanks again, Toby, for that email. Great to hear from you, sir. I thought, now don't be thinking I'm being morbid. I've actually considered doing a show, okay, for when I pass over. What do you think of that? Is that really a morbid thing to think? Something that would kind of perhaps tie up the loose ends. Would I use the show, though, to get back at people once I'd gone? I don't know. Yeah, there'd probably be some bits on there that I wouldn't tell you now, I think. And what I would do with this show is put it on a DVD and send it to a couple of people, probably Carl in Yorkshire, people I could trust. Probably Carl in Yorkshire and James Dean and my sister, and ask them to upload it to this, and that would be like the last show. It would kind of tie things together. I'm a real showman, aren't I, really? Wanting to finish things off like that. Is that morbid? I don't know. Any comments as usual? It's Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Hello to Roberts. It's Bob the Viking. The Vikings. The Viking. Have you noticed how I feel a lot more relaxed in the studio than I do outside? I've got to be honest about that. I always feel a lot more relaxed just in here, like me and you. Sometimes when I'm outside, I often worry that other people are listening outside the fence. You don't know, do you? And the cats are listening. Meow. Aren't they? I do feel a lot more relaxed in the studio, I have to say. Hello to Bob the Viking, who says, "Hi, Chris. You asked if I was a pilot. Come fly with me. Let's fly away." He says, and yes, indeed I am, or rather was. I used to fly Boeing 757s going into and out of Heathrow. Fantastic. Robert, I'm impressed. There's not a lot in this world that impresses me. Let me read you that line again. I used to fly Boeing 757s into and out of Heathrow. That is fantastic, Robert. You're a dark horse, aren't you? You've never told me that before. I love it. There's something very special. On a Friday, I have to go on the M25 to Hemel Hempstead from Bracknell. And I fly directly under the Heathrow flight path where they're coming in. They don't always come in that way. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they're taking off. But when they come in, the plane is really very low as it's coming in. And then it lands just on the other side of the motorway. And I love it. And it's dangerous, really, because the trouble is you're driving and then you look at the plane. The car in front's only got to suddenly brake. It's very difficult not to look at these beautiful, beautiful birds coming into land. I just love it. I love it. He says, I only did that run for a short while now. Well, I fly model aircraft and helicopters now. They are much more fun and actually harder to perfect. Really? I used to go to Epsom Downs when I was a child. Mum and Dad, on a Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon, we would always go out somewhere. One of the places we used to go was Epsom Downs. And there would be loads of blokes there with model airplanes. Now, we're not talking these little plastic things. These were proper, great big model airplanes. I suppose some of these things must have been 6 or 7 foot across the wingspan, and they start them up and they'd go on and then they would fly them. There were many times we saw these things come crashing down, dear. I mean, it was best idea really to take an umbrella out or something like that, I think. Robert says, the red plane, darling that she is alas not mine, because he sent me a picture of a beautiful little red plane. Stunning. I love them. I love planes, love them. He says, did I send you a picture of the black plane, which is the pitch special? Looks like an old girl, does she not? Yes, I'm sure you did. You sent me 2 pictures of 2 little planes. Well, he says, she is not that old and is very much a high-end aerobatic plane. The topic of the day, so that's the bit about planes, okay? Now, we were also talking about benefits on a previous show. And Bob says, the topic of the day, benefits. Well, these days, I am a house husband and have sent my wife out to work. And if any smart devils out there think I have got it easy, try looking after a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. Yeah, that's some feat, isn't it, eh? He says, doing crosswind landings when trying to finish off one beer is easier, I can tell you, than looking after the 2 children. They, the Civil Aviation Authority, take a dim view of empty beer cans in the cockpit. I should blooming well think they do. Can't you take a flask up there or something? God almighty, man. He says, I used to love walking up and down the plane, wearing my leather flying jacket, goggles and white scarf, shouting, whiz-o, old girl, time to head off from old Blighty. I say, old man, any idea which way Paris is from here? What? Turn left over old Reardon mansion, did you say? Oh, can you imagine coming out standing on a wing with a can of beer, screaming like that at Heathrow Airport? He says, back to benefits. Well, going to university and then working in the computer and then the flying industry, I find myself now a paperboy doing the rounds and then heading back home to allow the wifey to leave for the office. So yes, to be serious, sure, you can earn more on benefits, but what value do you put on self-respect? And that, I think, Bob, thank you very much. And thank you very much for sending me a picture of your little girl sitting in the cockpit in that plane. That's a beautiful little picture, that is. Can I... maybe no, it's a child, isn't it? So better not show it on here, I suppose. But lovely little... Picture of your girl sitting in the plane. You're not letting her fly that plane? Oh, my God. It's bad enough, dear, with my sister driving a car, let alone your little girl flying a plane. So thanks for that. But yes, Bob, I mean, that is probably the point I was trying to make on the show we did talking about benefits. Self-respect. I signed on for benefits for 2 weeks after I left school. I completely and totally felt it was below me to sign on. It's a very, very different culture now. It's very difficult. And in a way, I can understand people that say, oh, I know loads of people that get money for doing nothing, so why shouldn't I as well? I suppose, really, Bob, it's down to the individual as well, isn't it? I personally would find it very, very difficult to sign on. I really would. I think self-respect is a part of that. I want to go out and earn my money. If it's less than what I would get on benefits, then so be it. I want to earn my own money. And indeed, I do, by working all the hours God gives me, really. That's it from the show today. Thank you very, very much for listening and watching as always. Do contact the show by email. The email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. From myself, Chris Reardon, thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye now.